Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin.
I'm Gabe.
And you're watching episode 27 of DangIT Prodcast. Today we're talking about high school cliques and whatnot. You know the groups that usually categorize students in. Like, once you enter high school, you belong in, like, said group.
You're either a jock, nerd, prep.
Let's go down the list.
Like
let's just, like, try to list them all.
That feels like something we should have had the board for.
Yeah.
Regardless, we could do it without the board.
We just want this cool effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want the cool effect.
Yeah, I do.
Justin, graphic, now.
So what we got? You got the jockeys.
You have your jocks. You have your nerds. The goths.
The band kids, choir kids,
choir, theater. You're like outcasts. You have your stoners.
What are the stoners? Are those the people who just take drugs early, or?
Yeah, the pot smokers.
Okay. Yeah, we had those. We had those in high school.
We had plenty of those.
Just go to our bathroom. We'll prove it.
God. All right. What else is there? I want to at least get 10. Wait, what did we say? Jocks, nerds, preps. You have the sluts.
I guess. I guess.
And then you have the people that were like us, who didn't really fit in anywhere.
You just have your own group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just tends to be a thing. Why is that? Why does these things form? I mean, I kind of have some good grasp on it, but maybe
they mainly form because that's kind of like how people are set up, how living things are set up. They group together with those that have common needs and goals.
Yeah.
And by high school, people already know like how they are as a person, what they like, what they don't like, and they congregate with people that have similar interests and dislikes.
And I think trying to go back farther in depth, I think it does have to do something about like what is favored in the world. Like when you see in the media, you see muscular guys. Like football is definitely like something that's highly celebrated, and so that's the most popular thing. So that's why the jocks are the more popular kids, and they get to pick on all these other kids because they have more power to them, and so a lot of people are more inclined to join that group. But people who don't have an interest will just go into these other groups. They might have to deal with that, and I'm actually having a hard time trying to figure out like other reasonings why like people would belong in other groups, or rather like why did they even form in the first place?
Well, like I said, it's not so much that that's how people are. They hang out with those that emulate themselves.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're given such names is because that's how people on the outside of that group establish them as.
Yeah.
It's like all those people are in sports, they're jocks.
Yeah.
Those kids are rich, they're preps.
Also,
those girls are loose in the pants, they're sluts.
I think it's also a cultural thing too. Well, I'm not sure about the slut thing. No.
I don't know about the slut thing.
I don't know about the slut thing. Yes, it actually does something to do with that. I guess it's just really what's favored, like, in the world. Mm-hmm. That's like an easier way of saying it. I don't have any words for that, but yeah. I figured that, like, studying like sociology, I'd know this stuff, but I don't think I've really studied that much about high school cliques. I've been more overall.
You're more focused on broad spectrum.
I'm not
race, religion, and social class.
Yeah.
Instead of
like personal.
Adolescent.
Yeah, specifically adolescents. There's like a class about adolescents specifically, and then childs and adults are like clumped together in one. I guess the seniors as well.
Seniors,
as well as the animals. Everything else clusters together except for adolescents.
Right. Human adolescents.
Because they don't want anything to do with those. They want to be individuals. They want
being exactly like everyone else.
Yeah, it's weird, huh? You have like those people who like try to grow up too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like they act at a more mature age, I guess. And there's people who just don't care. So let's talk about our kind of group here.
Well, first off, if it weren't for the fact that you were part of our mishmash group of what the ever. We're the leftovers.
The leftovers is very specific.
Miscellaneous. Yeah. If it weren't for that group of people, what kind of like generic group of people do you think you would fall under?
I'm pretty competent academic, so like that would probably put me somewhere between geeks and nerds, like according to like I guess group standards. Mm-hmm. But I also played tennis, so that made me more athletic. So it's kind of weird. Like I don't really belong in any particular group, I don't think. So that's why I'm in miscellaneous or leftovers.
As long as you didn't play badminton, that didn't solidify that you were in the nerd category.
Yeah.
Sorry for all of you that play badminton, but that's a rather nerdy sport. It's tennis junior.
Tennis junior. Good luck trying to play outside in the wind.
Right?
Oh my god. See, that's why I don't really like about badminton. I like tennis more because you just play with like a far more open court.
Dude, I got down on my badminton in PE class though.
I had a bad time coordinating with the shuttlecock and the racket because it's just so small. But tennis is really where I'm at. But I don't think I belong in any kind of established social. It's not social class, but just like
group.
Group, high school clique. Did they have that in middle school too? No, I don't think. No.
They were developing. Like they weren't so case in point.
I mean, I think for our case, I think you have like jockeys who are playing always outside.
Yeah, like like I said, you had those that kind of like had the makings of it.
Yeah.
But because it wasn't so set in stone, because there wasn't any like real sports going on, there was like there was
you got intramurals,
but everyone did intramural.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like helped ease the boundaries between the different cliques.
Yeah.
But once it hit high school, then you have your AP classes along with your honors, and then your varsity and junior varsity sports.
Yeah, I think that definitely causes that separation and that group to form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how you just get used to your team and you just become attached to like people in your group, and so you just stick with them no matter what. Like during lunch, you just have like the football table, which is like awkwardly not in the center or anywhere else. It's just like right there, just at the edge of all tables, but not at the far end here. That was an awkward table. And then we had our table, which was like nearest to the second door to the right.
Our table freshman year was my freshman year, sophomore year. So the 2009 year? Yeah, the 2009 class year. That one was on the far south end of the what's it called? Cafeteria. And it was the entire south end because we had like all four of those long tables. That was just our group of friends.
Yeah, it's a shame that a lot of you just kind of like split up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that that's what high school does to you, especially if you're starting freshman year? It's like you have your original clique of friends if you have any, and then you guys kind of split off into join other groups.
Yeah, because everyone specialized into certain things. Like Carissa got into basketball.
Yeah.
Katie and Sarah and them got into One Direction.
The One Direction group.
A few of the other guys fell hard into football and all that.
What about wrestling?
Wrestling wasn't all that so much, but definitely football.
Yeah.
Like they hung out with the football guys.
All I know is that if it weren't for Dennis, I wouldn't have met you guys. If it weren't for tennis, I wouldn't have met Dennis. In which case, I wouldn't have met you guys. So thank you, Dennis.
DJ, you're awesome. Well, if it weren't for me dating Chandler, the group would have been half of what it was.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was me dating Chandler that got Addie, Katie, Sarah, Gabby, Angela, all of them to kind of mission to me, Adam, Matt, Justin, Jeffrey.
Where does DJ fall in there?
Or was DJ actually came in more towards the end of 8th grade.
Wow.
DJ was still new to our group, just like you were new.
I was the newest.
Yeah, you're the newest, but he was definitely second in line.
Kind of Corey was in there too. He was kind of newish.
He came sophomore year though, I think.
Oh, really? Then it's the same as me, except I stayed longer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here. I'm still here. Just the two of us.
We're all that's left.
You're not leaving me alone.
Okay, so I'll see you later.
No.
Take the mic.
Don't take the mic. I'm sorry, what are you saying? I'm just saying. Right.
Gabe, no, come back here with me.
Sorry, I can't help you to hear you with the sound of.
When it came to high school, what was your experience of noticing the different cliques? Like
different cliques?
Did you definitely see them like?
I mean,
hard, like standing out, very clear cut.
Well, yeah, but first off, I know that like in like on TV shows, they make a point of that, just to tell kids like, hey, this is a thing, prepare yourselves for it.
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't really notice it too much except for football with their table, because like we all share the same lunch period, right?
Yes, we did.
When I was in high school, well, before I met you guys, when I was back at the other high school, you really couldn't tell.
No.
Like the way everything was set, like the whole structure of the school, like people were just like near the planters, like
Yeah, it was all in the circular quad, huh?
Yeah, so you couldn't really tell. Whereas here, it's more like there is no circular thing to revolve around. It's just flat. So you have people hanging out.
It was just a very vast rectangle.
Yeah, I guess I probably could if I looked more in depth about it, but I didn't really care about it.
I think
you had the people hanging out in the library or just outside the library, and people hang out at the tables. That could just be anyone. And the people hang out on the fake grass, and then people near the G building.
Senior year, that was my senior year. That was our group.
Really?
Yeah, and it was down to just a few of the guys.
Wow. I don't remember that much about it, but I do remember it. Bistro shows a little bit more distinct groups, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Again, football, and then our
Yeah,
group,
yeah.
and then
You had the jocks more on the north end, and then
yeah.
um
Oh yeah, I was actually basing like the location of things based on just like the door entry
yeah,
instead of like the actual geographical
cardinal directions.
Right. All right. So now I get what you mean by north end.
Yeah, I'm use more the directions because they don't know where these geolocations are.
I figured out like all the different directions based on one class session in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Just pointed it out. I remembered it from there. Like, if I want to know like where north is, I bring myself back to that time when I was just sitting in 6th grade, and my teacher was like, north. And I'm like, got it.
Your teacher's just like, no. Well, actually, in our case, north. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Never forgot it.
Never forgot it. Like in this situation, I had to bring myself all the way back, retrace like my entire steps all the way to the 6th grade building.
Find out which direction you were facing.
Yeah. And I was facing north. It's like, north. Okay.
I just know north as it's the mountains right here.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Toward the R is north.
Yeah. I went to the R too.
Yeah, and I heard about that. I saw the pictures.
Yeah, that's fun.
Did not look very good up close. It looked like just land.
It is just land. Because it is just land.
Yeah, the days that I didn't hang out with our group, yeah, I definitely noticed it because I would jump from group to group and
Okay.
notice who talks about what and who does what.
Would you say you have the ability to jump between groups, like different cliques?
I definitely did have that ability because I was so spread out throughout school with my honors classes, an AP class here, all the sports I did, my love of art. Like the only places I really didn't hang out was the library. I hardly ever hung out there, but when I did, I was definitely able to see the definite set of who hung out
You know
there.
what? Now that I think about it, this might be just like what's that psychological effect? When you say something and then someone proves you wrong, and you're like, "Oh yeah, you're right about that."
Hindsight bias.
Hindsight bias. Yeah. That. So being hindsight biased about this, I think I noticed something different when you're in the library versus outside. Just how people behaved, how they looked. It was interesting. I should do a study on high school. Be that really creepy guy who's just like watching people.
Just watching children eat.
Yeah.
You just can't even find your mouth.
Yeah. It's like.
I'd rather do salad. Yeah, for me, I really noticed it a lot. And I don't know, I think it's because I was so quiet, but I talked to everyone at a time that I was able to jump from group to group, while others, I noticed they kind of were lost if they didn't have their group.
Yeah, I know definitely for sure I wouldn't even hang out with anyone else if I didn't have the group. Like, I mean, there's like particular friends I will talk to, but I can never hang out with the entire group, otherwise it'll be me being really quiet. But yeah, I think that's something that changed about me. I think I'm a little bit more open with people, but in high school I was definitely more, what's the word, exclusive to people?
Well, yeah, exclusive.
Exclusive to only particular people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One big bias that I did notice throughout the school, aside from the jock and all that, was the year.
The years.
Yeah, your class designated and dictated who you hung out with, because you hardly ever saw inter-class mingling. Of course, there was...
I mean, there was like our class years.
Yeah,
really close.
Our group definitely destroyed that.
But then the sophomores and freshmen at the time.
Yeah, the sophomores hung out with well, considering it as you as a senior at the time.
Yeah.
It was more the sophomores hung out with sophomores, and the freshmen hung out with the freshmen. Yeah. And then the juniors and seniors kind of
either did their own thing individually or just were together.
Yeah, every now and again they were intermingled, but that was if they were in extracurriculars that mashed up.
I think it's definitely because of our special case being like a new school and just only having juniors or sophomores and freshmen the first time that allowed us to like come together. Mm-hmm. You remember the first remember the first rally? Holy crap.
That was such a terrible rally, but I did get a bookmark.
Nice. Just the first microphone screech, I just knew at that moment this is going to be a very long 3 years for me.
Would you say it was a long 3 years?
No.
It flew by?
It flew by. Like, just thinking back on it, it's like, wow, it really did go by really fast. Mm-hmm. Especially senior year when I was like, just like flooded with a whole bunch of homework assignments.
I think my longest year was my junior year. Mm-hmm. But that was by far my favorite. Because I didn't have all the struggles of worrying what college I was going to, but I was far enough along to where I got to choose my classes and all these bullshit classes that I wanted.
I would say my favorite is actually senior year, despite all the work. At least in that year, I didn't get verbally harassed by my tennis coach, because he was so mean. And junior year was when all the drama came in. And so senior year was like, forget all that, just gonna work on academics and my friends, and then tennis.
I think senior year would have been my favorite were it not for the last 2 months.
Oh yeah, about that story.
That last 2 months just completely killed my senior year.
Yeah. Graduation was really touching too. Like for me, when Mr. McGrath like sent us off, I was like, farewell, go get him. I'm like,
I forgot who, I don't remember his name. Mr. Pierce, I think?
Well, that's outside my knowledge.
Who was the teacher that did dance?
Did dance?
Yeah.
The guy who like danced at one rally?
Yeah.
The guy with the fedora and everything?
Yeah.
Was it Mr. Pierce? I think it was somewhere along the lines of Mr. Pierce. I heard.
Yeah,
I think so. I would say it's Mr. Pierce.
He was an English teacher?
Yeah. I remember that much.
Yeah. He did ours, and oh my god, he started that off with like the most perfect joke. What? He's right there. Okay, so throughout the year, a lot of students closer towards the end want me to do the graduation speech, and they're always telling me, you'd make it epic. So, in the classical epic, it starts with the hero. Yeah, instead of like the what was it, connotation?
Connotation, as in like quoting or what?
No, not connotation.
Words, Gabe. You know them. I promise you.
It's been too long since school. The word that means like an own slang definition instead of a dictionary definition. Is it connotation? God damn it.
That's something I just don't know.
You're in college. You're supposed to know this.
No, I don't.
I really do think it's connotation. The connotation that he, like everyone else uses it in, like cool, awesome, like that. He took it in the literal dictionary definition of a freaking classical 1,000-page epic of freaking the story of a hero going through a drastic change. And he's right there, well, as much as you want me to make it an epic, you guys already did. Because the epic is the story of a hero who starts off one way, and then a drastic change happens, and it changes them for the better. And he's right there, and that's exactly what your high school experience was. That was your great challenge that will change you into the person that you're meant to be and who you will forever be. And I was just like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We're good. Dude, high school was awesome.
It was okay work for me, like overall. I think junior killed it.
I just really hope that I didn't peak in high school.
I mean, you got plenty of years ahead of you.
I do, but
whether you're drowned in work or whatever.
Because I want to go back to school, but at the same time, I'm scared because I'm like, it's been so long and I know I've forgotten a whole bunch of stuff. that I don't want to come back and just be so far behind to where I have to take remedial classes just to remember.
Well, I know that my brother took a year off from like going to school.
I'm already coming up on 2 years though.
Oh yeah, that's the problem then.
I'm coming up on 2 years, and that's 3 years of math.
Well, I mean, what do you plan on doing in the future, or at least what do you think?
I do want to do business management, and if I start my own business, it's kind of more up to me than it is like, well, what are your qualifications?
Yeah. Well, I can push stuff.
What?
I can push stuff.
Push stuff.
Freaking Alex from Target. It's like, what are some of your talents? Well, I've been told I bag items well.
Who said this?
Freaking Alex from Target on Ellen.
I just realized something. Your eyelids don't have like the same creasing that mine do. Yours are very smooth and flat.
Smooth, flat.
Yeah. Like I look at mine and I have like a solid crease along the top.
Well, it's because of that phenotype, though. And you know what that means? Punnett
It's
squares. For days!
Why did that start? I know you're like biology, Punnett squares for days, but what started that talk about biology?
I think you made like a Chinese joke, maybe.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, well, I wouldn't be offended. Well, actually, I'd be like a quarter offended. My mom, though, would be half offended.
Oh, yeah. Back to the whole groups and cliques and all that. As prevalent as they aren't a set standard. Depending on how casual and how much of a go-getter you are when it comes to making friends, all those boundaries and walls can be torn down, much like how I did it, and several others that I know did it.
I feel, though, that there might be exceptions depending on the school you go to.
That is true, like, especially older schools that have, like, set traditions about that, whether they're written down or acknowledged by the faculty.
Yeah.
There are some schools that have, like, strong bias towards who you hang out with, what you do, and what year you're in.
Yeah, I think we were pretty lucky that time because it was a really new high school.
I'm pretty sure, well, one thing that I know our school's going to be stuck with is your year. Your year's going to bias who you hang out with for a long time. Like, I've noticed that from the gate, because of such animosity between the freshman and sophomore years from the 2009-2010 year.
Yeah.
There's strong animosity because there's the freshmen who are like, this is our school, that's awesome. And then there's the sophomores who are like, I hate this school. They took me from the school I wanted to go to.
Well, I mean, that's partially true, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's another reason, or at least another like way of thinking for them. Honestly, I can't even talk as a representative of the entire class because I didn't really care about that. Like I was really like being like an upperclassman. I was really down to your guys' level as far as like connectivity.
It's because
DJ.
Well, yeah, DJ, but also there's no real upperclassmen, so everyone just kind of like intermingled. There's no one
Yeah.
like, hey.
Because we were all new there.
Yeah.
We were unfamiliar with everything, so yeah. And that's when like the freshmen then came in, and then freshmen before that, and we're like, we know this.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be strong animosity between the years, especially with the way that we do the rallies.
Yeah.
With when you yell out your graduating year.
Dude, imagine trying to go back to that same high school, not as a student, but just like, just kind of observing everything. I mean, I've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed no less different. But I'm sure it's way different.
I'm pretty sure in 5 years it'll be completely different.
What would be different? Besides the new faces.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Everyone's shorter. God damn, were we that short?
Actually, what's it called? As we were leaving, well, as my class was leaving, the freshmen seemed to be taller than the sophomores, so I think it's more of a economic type deal where they have their troughs and their peaks.
That's interesting. That's definitely like a study worth studying for. Study.
The average height of a freshman going into high school.
Yeah, and like, what are some like outside effects to that like contribute to like how high like or how tall a freshman becomes? That just kind of fluctuates. Anything about high school groups that we want to talk about in more detail, or I think we got it all.
I'm pretty sure we covered it.
Or at least our personal experience especially.
Yeah.
We have our miscellaneous group of just like, we don't really belong anywhere, so we had our own group. I think that was the case for a lot of groups.
Dude, we actually covered this topic the entire time. We have just under 2.5 minutes left.
Wow.
Dude, high five. We covered the
We
topic
finally
for an entire podcast.
For an entire podcast, even though, like, the very first episodes, it would have been an hour, so we'd have like half an hour to kill.
Yeah, that is very true. I think our 50 and our 100, we should do the full hours again.
Full hours?
If not, like, longer, just because they're such landmarks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Depends on, like, where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well...
We're back down to 2 subscribers. Not even both your accounts are subscribed.
I mean, YouTube could do that because they delete inactive accounts, and I haven't accessed my second account. Yeah, they do that. At least that's what the analytics tell me. Like, you lose these subscribers because of inactive accounts being deleted, which makes sense.
Weird, because my YouTube account went like 6 years untouched, and it was still there when I came back.
Yeah, I think that's the same with mine as well. Like, I've only signed in once after like a good year or so. I don't even know what YouTube's doing all the time.
Yeah, neither do I. Because I think the last time I actually signed into YouTube, I was in 6th grade. And then I signed into it again when Google Plus took over and you had to sign in to do things.
What do you think about that? I don't really mind it because Google account is pretty much the DangIT Pro Google account.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm fine with it because, you have to sign in to normally do things, but I don't like how you have to sign in and they ask you like 12 questions like, do you want to use this account? Are you sure this account? Do you want to link it to these accounts? Do you want to use this name or that name? Do you want to use a different name? Are you sure you wish to proceed to this website? Is this the video you wish to see? How old are you? What is your height?
Social security number.
Yeah. Social security and mother's maiden name.
Address. Personal phone number.
And then you're allowed to sign in.
Yeah. I don't think I've had that problem though.
I haven't had that in a while either.
Yeah.
They might have fixed that.
I mean, if anything, it just allows different social medias to just connect it to one account. All right. So, any closing statements about things?
Closing statements. Nowadays, because of how accepting people are, a lot of the borders that were set up back in like the 50s and whatnot, I'm gonna say, because of the preps and the greasers and whatnot, not really as solid as they used to be. So if you work at it, you can break those boundaries.
Yeah, definitely. Although there might be exceptions for particular schools out there that focus more on different sports, like Texas.
Private schools.
Yeah.
Private schools in Texas.
Yeah. Or Texas is all about football, right?
Yeah.
It's strictly all about football. Otherwise, you have to move out to see like some kind of business or other career other than football.
Pretty much.
But otherwise, like, you might find yourself in a good position where you can just like jump from different like high school groups as possible. And yeah,
as long as the avatar.
Yeah.
I bridged the gaps.
We didn't, like, other groups did not work together as well as you could with individual ones. So you were like the balance. We didn't really do too much about balance. You're just like, I can do this.
Avatars no one really talked about.
Yeah. You were before, you were like the second avatar. After Juan.
I was about like the 8th.
You're the 8th. After there's been an established thing, you're like, eh.
Just like no one really remembers what Taft did. I was that avatar.
Oh, shoot. I was like, the hell's Taft?
Exactly. It took you so long to realize, oh yeah, Taft was a president.
What? Wait, what's going on? I don't know these things. So when does that
What about Van Buren?
No idea. I thought that sounds familiar though.
That's another president. He was the 8th president.
Really?
Yes.
They had presidents in the... Oh, no. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, thought we were talking about Avatar. No. Thought we were talking about Avatar, like, they have presidents?
No.
Okay.
Just now, like no one remembers what Van Buren and Taft did. I'm like that, but for the avatars. Since I'm the 8th, I'm Van Buren Avatar. Avatar Van Buren.
Sounds legit. All right. So you guys have been listening and watching to episode 27 of DangIT Prodcast. My name is Justin.
I'm Gabe.
And thanks for watching. I don't feel like doing the hashtag bye.